Why hasn't Adam Gase been fired yet? There was a report that came out that said he was going to get fired after if they lost to Denver. Colin Cowherd reported it. He's not a reporter, but whatever. There was a rumor out there, and they lost to Denver. They lost to a 13 quarterback, and he's not gone. Like, Jack, you're a Jets fan. What are your thoughts on this? What's wrong with the Jets? Why isn't Adam Gase gone?
I'll try and bite my tongue a little bit, but frankly, without mincing words, it's an embarrassment. Like, the Jets are the laughing stock of the NFL right now, and it's not like there's a couple of people who think we should fire the coach. Everybody around the league agrees that Adam Gase is not the guy. It's been proven. Like, the Jets should have been a playoff team last year. There's no debate about it. If they beat the Bengals and the Dolphins, they are a playoff team. And with a good coach, they do not lose those games. If
we could have beat the Bengals, the Dolphins, we could have beat the Bills too, week 1.
And we said it before the podcast.
We blew that lead.
Yeah. I wasn't even counting that game. We said it before the podcast when we were talking about it. There's a difference between winning and losing games and being an NFL football team. Like, I don't expect the Jets to win. I don't know if you could attest to that. Like, I go in week to week expecting us to lose because we don't have talent. And I don't care if Bill Belichick was coaching this team. They wouldn't win more than 4 games because they're just not a talented roster. But there's a big difference between that and not going out and competing whatsoever. Like, not practicing well, which is a report that we've heard from multiple people that the Jets are not practicing well at all. Having a leader in the locker room, which has been proven since Miami last year that he didn't have his guys behind him when they lost to Miami, and nobody came out to defend him after the game. Like,
the leader was Jamal.
Yeah, he has lost the locker room. He has had lost the locker room since last year. It's an embarrassment. Like, it is just a joke. And then on top of that, with the way the game ended on Thursday night, not only should Adam Gase be gone, but Greg Williams should be gone. That entire coaching staff should be gone. They should clean house. I don't know how else to put it other than it is an embarrassment. Like, you went on national television and looked like a joke. Not only losing the game, but looking like a classless organization the way you finished it out. Everybody should be fired.
The Jets are a mess from top to bottom, and the fact that Adam Gase still has his job when Bill O'Brien, a guy who's been to the playoffs almost every year he's coached the Texans, lost his job is ridiculous. And Dan Quinn's probably going to lose his tonight when they lose to the Packers. But it's ridiculous. Adam Gase is 5-28 in games decided by 8 points or less, which means he doesn't win close games. You can count on Adam Gase losing those close games. And our biggest problem on Thursday was penalties, right? We're undisciplined. The Jets are an undisciplined team. We could have won it if Quentin Williams didn't get a roughing the passer penalty. We could have won. We didn't, right? But Adam Gase has started. This is his second year in a row. He's starting 0-4 with the Jets. Last year, he started 0-4. We gave him an excuse because, yes, we were starting freaking Luke Falk,
we
right?
had the injury.
We had Luke Falk.
Injury.
And I was one of the main defenders of Adam Gase. I said, let's give him time, see what he can do with the healthy roster.
He told me Sam Darnold was a superstar.
Sam Darnold has superstar potential.
He told me that. So
Darnold has superstar potential.
I don't know about superstar.
You got to relax because this is why he's not a superstar yet.
He's been set up to fail.
Okay. I'm gonna get to that right now. I'm gonna get to that right now.
Do you think?
The problem with the Jets is that Adam Gase is one of the most horrible coaches I've ever seen. His game plans, his adjustments, he has no adjustments. His game plans are horrible. The Jets started off 0-4 last year. We have a starting quarterback this year. We start off 0-4, and none of the games are competitive outside of the Broncos. In Miami, he started 1-5 his first season there, so he's known to be a loser. He's a loser everywhere he's gone.
He's a loser. He is still riding the coatails of coaching under Peyton Manning.
Can I ask you a question, though?
I could have been on the sidelines with Peyton Manning.
Jets fans. This is kind of your topic because you guys we're gonna let you guys go crazy. This is your thing. Go ahead. I just have a quick question. Do you guys think is it fair to say it's all Adam Gase? Is your team good enough to be better?
No. Listen, this is what I'm gonna say. The Jets have been 31st in offense since Adam Gase has been the head coach. I think 30th or worse, right? You see what Kyle Shanahan is doing with Nick Mullins and George Kittle out. They have no star receiver either. And they're still competitive. They're still drawing up plays. Adam Gase just isn't a good offensive play caller. That's what it is. Let's just call it how we see it. But the problem is that the Jets have failed Sam Darnold. And I'm not going to let Joe Douglas off the hook for this. I'm just not. Because the reason I'm not is because you didn't sign Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is top 6 in receiving yards right now in the NFL. He's less than 30 yards away from being number 1 in receiving yards. He's playing for the Panthers with his old coach in Matt Rule, a coach we could have had if the Jets let him pick his coaching staff.
Well, that wasn't
Douglas. That wasn't Douglas. But this is what happened with Douglas, right? Mm-hmm. You could have re-signed Robbie. Instead, you get a replacement of Brashard Perriman, who was a first-round bust with the Ravens, and Wilnir could attest to that. Brashard Perriman has been a disappointment. The only reason we signed is because he had a good 4 stretch of games with the Buccaneers where he looked like a number 1, but he was never going to be that. Robbie's better than him. The knock on Robbie is that he's a number 2 receiver, right? But we don't even have a 1. We don't even have a 2. Robbie would have been.
Mims hasn't played yet?
He hasn't played yet.
That's the thing.
But this is what I want to say, too. Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins were on the trade block.
Great.
Right? They were on the trade block. Joe Douglas made no attempt to trade for them.
Roseman too.
Sam Darnold's on his rookie deal, and you as a general manager make no attempt to get him talent. You make no attempt. DeAndre Hopkins was traded for David Johnson. Stephon Diggs was traded for a first-round pick, a second, and a 6th. DeAndre was traded for a bag of chips. Let's just be honest. He was traded for a second. Hopkins was traded for a second-round pick and a 4th rounder. Our second-round pick this year was Denzel Mims.
And David Johnson.
And David Johnson. Well, David Johnson.
We could have given them
or whatever. Yeah, we could have given him whatever piece, right? Denzel Mims was our second rounder and LaMichael Pirine. Are you trading Denzel Mims and LaMichael Pirine for DeAndre Hopkins? I think I would do that in a heartbeat. We do that trade. Our receiving core is Robbie Anderson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Jamison Crowder. Darnold can work with that, right? Instead, we let the Bills get a number 1 wide receiver, and they look. I was telling you this the other day. John Brown is Robbie Anderson. Let's just be honest. John Brown, Robbie Anderson, the same type of player. Cole Beasley, Jamison Crowder, the same type of player. We just needed a number 1.
Needed Stephon Diggs.
It's so disappointing that in Darnold's rookie season, these were his weapons. His rookie season, the year that he had no weapons. Jermaine Kearse, Robbie Anderson, right? Terrell Pryor, Quincy Enunwa, and Chris Herndon.
What the?
In 2020, this year, Sam Darnold's weapons are Jamison Crowder, Braxton Berrios, Chris Hogan, and Jeff Smith.
Those are the people that suit up and go out there and line up.
But Chris
Not
Hogan,
even
though.
Jamison Crowder until last
Mammoth
week.
legend Chris Hogan.
Well,
put some respect on
let
his
me say one thing to counter your point, and I will say, to your point, look at tonight, the New England Patriots, without their starting quarterback, they ran out Brian Hoyer with no receiving talent, and they still had a 6-3 game at halftime with the best team in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Because Bill Belichick is a great coach. They lost the game. They lost 26-10.
Oh, damn,
but
wow.
it was 6-3
They scored
at
20
halftime.
in the 4th?
Yeah, it was 6-3 at halftime against the best team in football because Bill Belichick is a great coach and he will never have his team go out there looking embarrassed.
Right.
If Bill Belichick was coaching the Jets, they might win 4 or 5 games. They still would not be a good team, but I promise you they would fight every week. They would look like a football team. Right now, the Jets don't look like an NFL football team. Like, even the Giants, who are also really bad, put up a fight. Like, they could have won that game against the Rams on Sunday, against a good Rams team. And the Jets just don't, like, I feel no life coming from the Jets.
I just don't. Sam Darnold is, I feel so bad for Darnold, and I feel bad because Joe Douglas, we anointed him this savior because he was able to finesse a couple picks for a superstar player, right? But Joe Douglas, he goes out and he says, we're going to revamp this offensive line. We signed Greg Van Roten. We re-signed Alex Lewis. They are the worst starting guard duo in the NFL. And Brian Winters is better than Greg Van Roten. I don't know why we'd get Greg Van Roten to replace Brian Winters. Brian Winters was our best offensive lineman. He's not great, but he's not bad. He's not Greg Van Roten. I saw Greg Van Roten play in Carolina. He was never that good. He was never supposed to replace Brian Winters. But my main point with Joe Douglas, my main problem with him is that we don't trade for a number 1. Right? You don't make it a priority to trade for a number 1 wide receiver, but you make it a priority to re-sign Ryan and Griffin. Like, we re-signed Ryan and Griffin, before we made any kind of
But the Ryan Griffin deal was not at the caliber of a Robbie Anderson deal. Robbie Anderson was a pretty coveted wide receiver in free agency.
We paid Brashard Perriman $2 million less than Robbie.
But it wasn't there was no commitment to Brashard Perriman. It was a 1-year deal.
Robbie's on a 2-year. There isn't much of a difference.
The one thing that Robbie Anderson would not be doing what he's doing in Carolina in New York, just because
maybe if we have a Hopkins, he would.
DeAndre Hopkins would get his anywhere, but would that solve your problems? And this is my counterpoint to your argument, is that DeAndre Hopkins is not saving us. Neither is Stephon Diggs. Joe Douglas right now is playing the long game, and that is why he asked for a 6-year deal coming in, is because this team was not being fixed in 1 year. It's not being fixed in 3 years, and it's the main reason why I think Sam Darnold is not going to be the future quarterback for the Jets, because his rookie deal is going to expire. We talked about it. His rookie deal is going to expire, and we're not going to be ready to win yet. And
as a Jets fan, I'm tired of playing the long game. I want to win now.
Well, yeah, so am I, but you've never had a real GM. You had John Isdick and Mike McCagnon who were playing Madden.
If Joe Douglas was an aggressive GM, we could have had an offense of Darnold, DeAndre Hopkins, Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder, Christopher Herndon, and Le'Veon Bell.
And won 6 games.
No, I don't think so.
We would not have
because Jamal Adams would have never been traded. If Jamal Adams sees that we trade for Hopkins, he doesn't want out. I guarantee it.
Jamal Adams was gone at the trade deadline.
Jamal Adams wanted to leave because we were losing. If he sees that we're looking to win, if we trade for DeAndre Hopkins, then we would have been good. Jamal Adams was the main person that told the Jets and wanted the Jets to sign Le'Veon Bell. He wants talent in New York, but he sees that Jamal Adams isn't dumb. He saw that the Jets were going to suit up Jeff Smith and Chris Hogan as starters. That's why he left. But nothing was getting better.
Even trading for DeAndre Hopkins would have been a mirage, just like signing Le'Veon Bell was, because our offensive line is still not good. Our defense is not good. It is bad without Jamal Adams.
I have this theory, right? A great offensive line makes mediocre receivers look good. A great receiving core, San Francisco.
Boom. Okay.
A great receiving core makes a bad offensive line look better than they are. Houston is a perfect example. Arizona is a perfect example.
Rams.
Houston has Deshaun Watson, though, who is not. Sam Darnold is not on Deshaun Watson's level. And
Deshaun Watson, he'd be running for his life. That offensive line is terrible.
Exactly. Sam Darnold is, and it is because of the Jets that he's not there yet. But Sam Darnold is not on that level, and we haven't given
him the chance to even prove that he can be near it.
And we wouldn't have, because he still wouldn't have had an offensive line. He still would have been running for his life, but he couldn't do it at the level that Deshaun Watson
for his life.
But I think the offensive line wouldn't be such a glaring issue if our receivers can get separation and he can let go of the ball quicker. But he can't, because we got no receivers.
But when you look at
Lawrence Cager,
Sam Darnold is still missing throws. Like, he's still making erratic plays. He's still missing throws. And I do think that a lot of that has to do with how he's been developed as a quarterback and the fact that he has to learn under Adam Gase, which is a joke. But I think that the first move that needs to be made for the Jets to take steps toward success is fire Adam Gase.
No, I agree with that.
Every day that he is in the organization is a wasted day.
Yeah.
And you are not making any progress forward with Adam Gase at the helm.
I agree with that.
I'm not mincing words. Like, that's just what it is. We've watched it for 2 years.
Yeah.
We watched it in Miami too. Every star that he's been around has wanted out. Have we realized that? Like, nobody wants to play for Adam Gase.
Except Frank Gore.
Who is just... He's making his AFC East tour.
I know that Adam Gase is the biggest problem with the Jets, but I also can't just be blind to what Joe Douglas hasn't done to try to get this roster better.
I just think that we can't judge Joe Douglas
We said Joe Douglas has a great draft, right? We say he had a great draft. Still to be determined.
Nah,
Mekhi Becton is...
Screw Mekhi Becton. Forget him, bro.
He's been the best.
Mekhi Becton is a great
answer.
Mekhi Becton is a great left tackle. He's a great left tackle, but we don't know what Denzel is going to be. We don't know what Piron is going to be. We don't know what Ashton Davis is going to be. We don't know if this draft class is going to be any good.
And hold on, before we go any further, I want to say another point why the Jets coaching staff should have been fired before they even got into the locker room on Thursday.
Talk to me.
Is one, they put out rookie Mekhi Becton with a shoulder issue that he should not have even been suited up. It's a joke that he was even in uniform, and they put him out there. That's ridiculous, number one. And they put Sam Darnold back out there with a sprained AC joint just because he said he was okay to play. So you just risked your two biggest building pieces for the franchise in a Thursday night game against a bad team in the Broncos in a season that is already lost. It's an embarrassment. Top to bottom,
This is why I have no hope for the Jets, right? We might get the number 1 pick, fine. Who cares? But if Adam Gase, we don't trust Adam Gase's judgment, right? Nobody here, I guess nobody here does, unless you do speak up.
Oh,
nobody does.
I'm here with you.
But he's supposed to be a quarterback guru.
Adam Gase handpicked Joe Douglas to be the GM. So if you don't trust his knowledge on anything else, why should we trust that Joe Douglas is the guy when he was handpicked by Adam Gase?
Joe Douglas has a resume, though. He won in Baltimore. He won in Philly.
He was like the assistant.
But he was a big piece.
This is his first. This is his first real legitimate GM job.
Gotta let the Jets fans go crazy.
Nah, I was just gonna ask, since we're on the topic of the draft, do you think you guys should tank for Trevor Lawrence?
Absolutely. That's not. I think Trevor's.
It's a lot of 0-4.
I don't think
right
it's
now.
an option. Like, I don't think it's a question. Should we or shouldn't we?
It's
I
we are
don't
going
think
to.
we
We're not
can
gonna
win games. Like, I honestly believe that we are going to go 0-16. When you look at our schedule,
I wish we played you guys.
there are maybe 2 or 3 potentially winnable games on our schedule. I don't see where we're going to pick up a win this year. Unless we sneak one out against the Dolphins, which I realistically can't see because
Dolphins went toe-to-toe with the Seahawks.
Brian Flores makes Adam Gase look like he's still playing in the sandbox at elementary school. And even though they're not a talented team, like, Adam Gase is just going to get out-coached. And they still have better talent than the Jets. Yeah. But I think that when it comes to Joe Douglas, we need to give him time. First move that he needs to make is Adam Gase can't survive the season.
We have to at Adam Gates for this show right here.
I would love to hear a comment from him. If he could defend himself,
this segment specifically.
If he could defend himself, I'd love to hear it because I don't know what he could say that could, excuse what he's done in 2 years. It's been a joke. And and you could count the amount of times that I've said joke and embarrassment in this segment, and it's more than the amount of games we've won in 2 years.
Yo, that's crazy.
But Adam Gase needs to go.
I mean, if there's one thing that Adam Gase knows how to do, it's defend. He defends other defensive statistics so they can look like the best ones in the league every single week because he's such a horrible coach. Like, yeah, Adam Gase needs to go, but also I'm not off the topic with Joe Douglas. Like, he has to prove something.
When it comes to Joe Douglas, I want to give him some time because he hit on the Mekhi Becton pick. I think we can agree on that from what we've seen on him so far. He was arguably the best rookie selected so far. And Denzel Mims, we haven't seen yet. I want to see what he does in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll see.
Same thing with Bryce Hall, who was considered to be a great steal late in the draft. Ashton Davis, we haven't seen a lot from yet. So there's some picks that I want to see something from before I make a judgment on him. And I want to see what he does with the $28 million that he saved this year in free agency, because that $28 million, it wasn't going to turn us into a competitor this year. So I'd rather save that moving forward, build through the draft a little bit. 3 years down the line, when we have a couple of Joe Douglas drafts in our system, building under hopefully a new head coach, Eric Bieniemy or somebody like that, the fact that we could have had him 2 years ago, or Cliff Kingsbury or Matt Rule, makes me sick to my stomach. But if we can get a good head coach in here, get 2 or 3 Joe Douglas drafts under our belt, and have that cap space, and maybe Trevor Lawrence or maybe a revitalized Sam Darnold under a new head coach, I think we can start to see some positives. But if we get to year 3 and we're looking at the same situation and another failed head coach, then I'll be on your bandwagon.
We'll see.